Hey everybody, this is Charlie here. I want to take a quick minute as I'm editing this episode to come on and let everyone know that unfortunately, voice actor Mark Dodson has unexpectedly passed away. For those that may know, he voiced many creatures and characters from our childhood, most notably Salacious Crumb from Return of the Jedi and multiple gremlins from both Gremlins and Gremlins 2. And since I'm currently working on our Gremlins 2 episode, I thought it appropriate to put this at the beginning to say that we're all deeply saddened by his passing. He's been huge in the convention circuits. He was a wonderful guest. I've seen him multiple times, and it's just really really hard thing, especially editing this episode, knowing that this happened, and he was supposed to be at a show this weekend. So pretty much me and the guys decided we were going to dedicate this episode of Gremlins to the beginning of our kid-friendly month, in the memory of Mark Dodson, and just keep his family and friends in your thoughts. And you know what? If you get a moment this year or next year, go see your heroes. We're not guaranteed any amount of time. So anyway, we hope you enjoy our episode of Gremlins 2.
Sometimes that is better.
Why, welcome to Give Me Back My Horror Movies, a very civilized podcast with very civilized hosts. I am one of your hosts for the very first time if you've never chimed in, Nate. And with me, as always, is one Charles. Say hello to the internet, Charles. Ah, yes, that is Charles being very uncivilized, but I hope that one Peter will be able to chime in. Say hello to the people, Peter. All right, we will get him out of here. He is not good for our cause, just like what any other good podcast wants to go about when we're covering G2, baby.
G2. It's almost as cool as T2.
It's it's right there with it. I got Charlie froze on my end, I think. No,
No, I was looking for my gunshot drop and I lost it because I was gonna make Nate shoot Pete. That's what I was gonna do.
Now that would not have been very civilized.
I was trying to roll with the bit, but I was not prepared for this one.
What I like though is someone tunes in, they go, "Oh, this is a very sophisticated movie podcast I'm listening to. Listen to these accents." I mean, clearly,
they think all of a sudden we were Whorehouse Pod. You were Dom for a moment there.
Wait a minute. Pardon me. Do you have any Grey Poupon?
No, that was over on Flicks and Friends.
You're right. You're right. I don't even know if Grey Poupon's around anymore.
Sure it is.
I think so. I think you can still buy it. They just don't advertise anymore.
Never had it once in my entire life.
They had the greatest advertising campaign ever, and they went, "We never need to make another commercial. We're done.
We're solid." Yeah.
People will keep saying it, just like, "Where's the beef?"
Exactly. Wendy's, you don't need to do any more ads. We just
done.
Where's the beef? Done.
Yep. God. So, gentlemen, tonight we are covering Gremlins 2. I can't help it. It's just so fun.
The accent of this movie, because the movie is
everything.
definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about this accent. Are you trying to be Tony Randall over there or something?
This is Tony Randall. I don't know what you're talking about.
I get it now.
With a little bit of George Takei.
There's a lot of George Takei in that one. Oh, my.
Oh my.
Oh, Lord.
So this is starting out our kid-friendly month where after we did Ernest Scared Stupid, we decided
Yeah.
that we should do a whole month that is kid-friendly and kind of like good introductions to, horror or action movies. And I think we all kind of agreed in unison right out the gate was, all right, well, Gremlins 2 is happening.
I believe it was Nate threw an absolute fit and said, we're doing Gremlins 2
I think
first.
you're right.
I do not believe that is how the conversation went. Nate is a very calm individual.
Oh.
Who
what
does
were you,
not
How were you described one time?
be a diva behind the scenes.
No, he's never a diva behind the scenes. But no, we said it and it was unanimous that, Gremlins 2 had to be on the list.
And then the nice part is, so we are currently running a poll on what our last 2 movies should be for the month. And
it's done now. So
it's done now.
It's done now.
The nice part was seeing people even comment like, oh, well, Gremlins 2, even though that wasn't part of the choices at all. But I feel like everyone...
You want to talk about civilized people? Why is it when we put a poll, everyone puts everything except what we put on the poll? They're always adding extra things
I
to
don't
what
know why people add in extra things. Like
I don't.
You've got 3 choices.
That's
3 choices per show. We gave you 3 action and 3 horror.
We gave you 6 choices total, and you still managed to mess it up.
Talk about chaos. Good Lord.
So, Charlie, before we get any further into Gremlins 2 and our history with this, and more of what this month is about, can you please enlighten us with the trailer?
Oh, we think there's a trailer. Oh, yeah, thank God Pete month is over with. So we get trailers again.
Trailers exist again.
I
wasn't even going to mention Pete month. I was like, this is our cleansing after what happened in February.
It feels so weird not to be in control anymore.
You get back in your cage.
Yeah.
You can't cleanse unless we get it out, and now we can wash it. Now,
I'm going to spritz you with a water bottle and feed you after midnight, you little turd.
No, because that means there'll be even more Pete's running around.
That sounds like fun.
We'll trap him on hold. Hold on. I could do that here. Hold on.
It's bad enough that Troy has been very Pete adjacent right now in the group chat. Little Pete Jr. over there.
He's trying to get those brown
also missing back. Troy right now. It sucks.
Troy's my boy. Troy wants
4 episodes.
Troy,
we lost Troy.
For a minute, I thought you joined the show.
Oh, right. He's got family things. He's got a daughter that's...
I've got a family. What do? You think you're better than me?
I got a family. I stick them in the house, and I'm going to go podcast. That's what I'm doing tonight.
They drive her to practice all the time. She's in a play coming up here pretty soon. She's very entertaining, by the way. If you haven't heard her on Good Beer Bad Movie Night, she's
and a good plug, Pete. But go check out.
Yes,
Death
quite
Becomes
a strong
Her episode.
Personality. She takes after her ma.
She's better than the current 4 host of the show. Yeah. So start letting her pick movies.
Well, guys, I did find, the regular run-of-the-mill trailer. I'm like, this is okay, but I got something a little extra special.
Oh, yeah?
What you dig up?
I did some digging, some, I don't want to say dark parts of the web, but it was slightly shadowed because, no light. But I found a pitch meeting from when the movie was being made, when they were just tossing around ideas.
I guess because I didn't get to watch my Blu-ray special features that you just clicked on the menu.
I did not.
I feel like that's what you did. I didn't
do
that.
I figured Pete already put me on a list. What's a couple more?
You clicked special features and went
I'm kind of
behind the scenes.
I'm kind of hoping this is the Japanese trailer for Gremlins 2. That would be...
It's not a thing.
Because it would
not a thing
in English.
Why? Are you want to give us seizures?
Right. No. All right. Well, here's what I found for you guys. Enjoy.
Let me introduce myself. Hi, y'all. My name is Star Magic Jackson Jr. I'm the Hollywood sequel doctor. So studio just brings me in to oversee things when they about to drop a deuce. This is G2, people. We're writing Gremlins 2. It should be a party with pizza and anchovies, pineapple. Just come on, lift up the spirits. Look, okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of spice into the mixture here. What if we did this? Everybody here gets to design their own gremlin. Look, here's the thing. None of this is final.
So you mean like, what if there was like a brainy gremlin?
A brainy gremlin. You talking about a gremlin with glasses who could talk and sing New York, New York? That's brilliant. It's in the movie done.
Whoa, you said that nothing was final.
That was before I heard the words brainy and gremlin in the same sentence together. It's done. I love it. It's in the movie next.
What about a spider gremlin?
You mean a gremlin with 8 legs and a thorax just catching pretty ladies in a web in an office building? Oh my God, it's in the movie. I love it. Next.
What about a bat gremlin?
You mean a gremlin with leathery wings just flying around, flip-flopping, bust through a wall, make a perfect bat symbol in the wall, get outside, get in some wet concrete, jump up on a building and just dry in place like a gargoyle gremlin? We are cooking with gas now. I love it. It's in the movie next.
Could there be a female gremlin?
Lipstick boobies, bitch, you have me a little gremlin for JJ. I love it so much that it's not only in the movie, but it's definitely in the movie. There's no backsies on that one, no penny taxis. Yes, in the movie, done. That's why we need a woman in the writer's room. Next.
I don't know. A googly-eyed gremlin?
But you do know, because you talking about a gremlin whose sole purpose in this film is just that he looks stupid. Yes, it can be in the movie, and it is in the movie. Done. Next. What about you, Silver Fox?
Electricity gremlin?
You just said noun and gremlin, like you playing Mad Libs. You just like a child. You have the brain of a child. You do not have a high IQ, but you haphazardly came up with a gremlin that's just made out of bolts that is zigzagging all over the room and is done completely in animation. You a crazy person, and your idea's in the movie. Done. Next.
Can we put the Hulkster in it?
What? You talking about putting Hulk Hogan, professional wrestler turned actor turned cultural icon, in the movie where he break the fourth wall of the movie he's in by talking to the audience. You, sir, are a raging psychopath. Don't let this down. Take that away from me. That's it. I don't even care anymore. We got the Hulkster in this bitch, so it's done. I don't have any more time. So let me just recap right now. It's Brainy Gremlin, Spider Gremlin, Back Gremlin, Lady Gremlin, Googly Eye Gremlin, Electricity Gremlin, Hulk Hogan's gonna be in the picture. I'm gonna throw in a gremlin myself. Vegetable Gremlin, just write it up. I'm having so much fun, thank you. It's all gonna be in the actual film. Now I gotta go put some Cowboys and Back to the Future 3. Sayonara, y'all. Oops.
Now, okay, you guys know that none of that is going to be in the actual movie.
You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome.
I had to mute myself because of how much I was laughing because of how much I adore that sketch.
There's no trailer that explains this movie better than that skit by Keenan.
Yeah, like, oh
period.
my God.
I saw that
you, Jordan Peele and Keith.
when that came out. I wish they were still doing it. I know someone thinks he can direct horror movies.
As Peele peels out, as Peele leaves, the guy when Peele leaves and Keenan says, "Oh yeah, like none of that's going to be in the movie." There's subtitles under his face that said, "As a matter of fact, all this is in the actual movie."
All of this is in
like
the movie.
No one's seen this movie, and then I realized that this is like 30 some odd years old, and probably a lot of people that haven't seen this and would have seen this sketch and go, "That's the weirdest movie." Excuse me, what? That's actually in the movie?
Yeah,
oh, man.
like,
and
yeah.
It is,
as I explained to you, Pete, in the text. I went, new generation. We have had 34 years since we've had a Gremlin sequel,
right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. I have not watched the cartoon on
I
HBO
saw the
yet.
first episode and it was okay. Part of the problem with the cartoon is beautifully drawn. The voice acting is excellent. It just, because it's animated, it doesn't have that puppet charm to it.
Right.
You know how we're in it for if there is ever a remake of Gremlins, if they put an ounce of CG in it, I'm out. Unless it's, the really good enhancement stuff, say like the latest Star Wars stuff, that was really good, but I want puppets on screen.
But like,
So, real
Gremlins
quick,
is just meant to have a cartoon. I'm sorry, Charlie. Like,
no. Pete, what Pete just said, where I usually get my kill counts, I was watching Dead Meat, and the Gremlins took over their show, and to get the show back, they had Billy, Zach, pop on and go, "Hey, guys, knock it off, or the next movie we're gonna CG every one of you," and they all scream and run away.
Brilliant.
I was like, completely meta.
I've never watched Dead Meat, but I will check that out.
I think they're in Columbus, aren't they? Aren't they from Columbus?
Well, they used to
Michigan. I think.
Is it Michigan? Okay.
Yeah.
I know they're around that area.
They're
somewhere in our ballpark.
Yeah. That if Gremlins ever should have been a cartoon, it should have been like in the 90s when we got Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm
2D
kind of
cell
shocked
animation
that we never
been
had
good.
one.
It's just
right.
What Max has out. It's that 3D model, not quite Pixar, but I don't know.
It looks cool. Like,
it's not
I like
landing
the art
with
style,
me yet. I'm gonna have to watch a couple more episodes.
I don't know, for whatever reason, haven't watched it, and I
haven't either.
As a person that's wanted more Gremlin content, but at the same time, kind of like what we talked about with Flicks and Friends, like you got Wayne's World 1 and 2. That's kind of all you need. Would I argue a third? No, but I feel like after 2, I don't know where you go with the Gremlin storyline. You kind of knocked it out the park.
Well, you'd have to go to space, wouldn't you? Because that's
that's Critters then. So like, I don't know if you can jump in that territory.
Well,
the evolution. Well, everybody
that was where the studio wanted to take it.
Oh no,
originally. So the studio wanted it either in Vegas or in space.
Oh, Vegas would be sweet.
Vegas would have been. That could have been wonderful chaos.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but we had Leprechaun in Vegas, and no one really cared about that. Then we got Leprechaun in space, and no one really cared about that.
Imagine a bunch of Gremlins causing chaos at like
on the Strip,
Caesar's Palace, and on the Strip.
That's
a lot of fun.
They eat marshmallow as he's doing one of his DJ gigs, right?
Yeah,
that's I tried. That joke didn't land very well.
Who's Marshmallow?
You're better off with showing them riding the tiger in the Siegfried and Roy show.
Or like they attack Lady Gaga. Right. I don't know who this DJ is. I'm sorry.
Who was famously always in Vegas? He's like a lounge singer. He was in Mars Attacks.
Wayne Knight.
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton.
I was like, Wayne Knight.
That's Newman. My bad.
What's Newman doing here?
Newman
tonight?
Might be in Vegas. Every time I go to Vegas, I look for Nicolas Cage. Haven't found him yet. But
is he going to be wearing a yellow raincoat and a gremlin spits in his face? What?
I would watch that.
Because honestly, after watching this movie, any of that's game. Like anything could happen in part 3. But yeah.
God, so I don't know who wants to go first on describing their memories with Gremlins.
Well,
yeah, Pete.
I did not see Gremlins 2 in the theater. I famously saw the first one, and it, what was it? 84 was the first Gremlins.
Yeah,
85, something like that. So I would have been like 12 and
84.
Okay, I'd have been 11 then. So yeah, I was a perfect age for it, even though the ending of that was a little on the dicey side as far as gore for maybe an 11-year-old. And it was definitely scary, but it was such a ride that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have no idea why I never saw the sequel in the theater, because it only came out, 5 years later, right? Like
no,
6 years.
6 years.
6 years, because it was after Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just never went to go see it, and I think I picked it up from the library or something maybe 5 years ago. And whereas it's been my whole life, I felt bad for myself. And I just sing the praises of this movie. It's complete chaos from start to finish. It is all the practical effects you can possibly stomach, along with it going well over the top and just embracing the whole Looney Tunes of the situation. It's a thing to behold, and I think it deserves more love than it does in general. I think it gets poo-pooed a little bit because it's not taking itself seriously, and that was the whole point of the sequel, was to not take itself so seriously.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
he
it
he
pokes
considered
fun
the
of
first,
itself.
All
He
the
considered the first one perfect and done.
Mhm.
Like it didn't need.
He didn't want to
and-
do it. Dante didn't want to do another one.
No, Dante didn't, and they begged. That's how I found out that they wanted to go to space, Vegas. Dante said no. They tried with other people, nothing came of it, and then finally they went, "Okay, Dante, what's it going to take?" And he goes, "A lot of money and full creative control," which is unheard of. Unheard of when you're talking like Warner Brothers and stuff like that. But he was like, "It's not happening unless you guys, kick rocks, get out of here." Yes, this is the family friendly month.
Kick
So
rocks,
that means our language will never exceed the rating of the movie. Is kind of what I've laid down, because there's some movies we're going to do that we may need to say something, but this one we can tease a little bit.
All right, then, Charlie, what was your experience with Gremlins 2 growing up?
So I had to dig deep. I saw Gremlins 2 before I ever saw Gremlins.
Wow. No kidding.
Quite famously, I've talked about my mom on here.
Uh-huh.
My guess is Dad rented Gremlins at one point and watched it before me and my sister, and Mom said no. Way too scary, way too gross.
That's too bad.
I had the records, the small records. I think it was Hardee's that we had down here that put out, and you could get the hand puppet Gizmo.
Wow.
That record would creep me out because it was the part where the Mogwai turn into the pupa and then transform into the Gremlins, and they put the sound effects in.
Ooh, gross.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a freaky thing. So Gremlins 2 came out. I was 10. I didn't get to go to the theater, obviously. I didn't get to watch this till it was on VHS, which probably means I was about 11. And I begged. I'm talking begged, because my friends were watching it. It was everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. And Dad rented it. Him and Mom watched it, and they were both like, "Okay, we can do this one." Still gross.
This is way grosser than the first one, I think.
Still grosser, but in a funny kind of way. I mean,
in an absurd way.
Something about the first Gremlins is quote unquote dark compared to this one, I guess.
Well, it's going to be the only thing I'm going to give Nate a little bit of shit about tonight. Not about the movie, but because this is his horror selection. I'm like, this is the least horror kind of movie. This is more action than horror in this movie. Like, there's literal action references throughout this movie.
True.
There are.
And guns, and machine guns, and
a gremlin with a machine gun.
bazooka missiles that's literally spray painted on the side of a box.
Can I say what an opportunity they missed by not putting Acme bazooka missile on that crate?
Yeah, why did they not do Acme on all the
Acme,
crates?
come on, guys.
So many
come on.
Looney Tune
Of
references.
all the details in this movie, you didn't put
Because it
Acme
is
on the
Warner
side of
Brothers, so you can get away with it.
Yes,
it starts
paying
with-
yourself.
It starts with Bugs Bunny and Daffy doing a little quick cartoon at the beginning, which, God, I miss those. I miss watching like Roger Rabbit, and you get like that baby little quick cartoon at the beginning and stuff. But no, my first introduction to the movies was part 2, and good Lord, I love this movie. I was one of those kids. It's like when Hulk Hogan popped up, you're like, what?
The Hulkster? What?
No, because I watched the Saturday morning cartoons. I watched a bit of wrestling with my dad. I knew all this stuff. I knew enough of the pop culture references. I knew who Grandpa was, from Munsters, so I understood that character in this. I got enough, and then as I got older and after I watched the first one, I went, "Oh crap! There's a ton of stuff in this movie I never got as a kid."
God, yeah, there's so much that
This deserves multiple viewings because of all the stuff that's happening in the background.
ADHD on film. There's so much crap
really
happening at
is.
once that
that
you need to focus on where you're at.
Like the climax of the film, the whole chaos in the lobby. It's like watching History of the World, the commissary scene. If you ever watched the commissary, I saw that on the big screen.
Well, that's
a
Blazing
few years
Saddles,
ago.
the commons.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. It was Blazing Saddles.
You're talking about like the big like dance number at the end.
The dance number, pie fight.
When they're in the lunchroom,
it just goes completely crazy.
Fight. Right, yeah. But there's little bits of stuff. If you watch it, there are 4 or 5 areas where, okay, you 4 or 5 folks do this, you 4 or 5 folks. So there's bits going on in this short, chaotic scene, and I'm sure that's happening during the chaos of the end of this film too.
Oh, it completely is. It's also that, like, the big overhead shot, all of that is miniature, which is glorious. And they made to make them look like they melt is they could pull the puppets. There's nothing in them, and they're small, and they would squish down. So I was like, that's just bloody
it was
brilliant.
Like vacuum
man.
seal, like they would just suck the air out of those things.
It was like little dudes with wires, and they would just drop it down, and all the goo, I think, would pop up through little holes and things. It was just fascinating stuff. But that's me. Nate, what about you, Bubba? This is your pick. You brought this.
No, I'm in the same boat. I saw Gremlins 2 first before the
That made me feel weird about it, Pete. Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm making you both feel weird, but
1990, I was 2, I didn't get to see this movie till a couple years after the fact. But I remember this was one of the ones that we watched at Nana's because Gizmo is cute, and everyone in the family loved Gizmo, and like they knew that I was liking horror movies, and like there's Batman references in this. I love Batman as a kid growing up, like so to have that all. Now I didn't know who Christopher Lee was till much later, and then it wasn't till last year me and a buddy sat down and watched this because I was like, dude, I haven't seen part 2 in forever. I was like, I just revisited 1 not too long ago, but it's like it's been a long time since I've seen 2, and like just the biggest smile on my face revisiting it. And then last night watching it again and just laughing just as hard at everything and like just seeing how brilliantly put together this movie is. But man, growing up, like it was constantly having this on, like because of how much fun it is. It's just a silly movie for a kid, and it's gooey but like playful, like when you have a gremlin going into a paper shredder and he's turning into gremlin soup, and it's so gross, but as a kid you're chunky. Like, this is awesome.
I told Jackie last night it looked like pesto.
Yeah.
And then having little Gizmo with his red bandana and being Rambo.
Rambo Gizmo, man. I need to
as much as I love Gizmo in a car, Rambo Gizmo is pretty sweet.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah. Did NECA ever make one of those?
I don't know if they.
I don't know if they did or not.
Surprised.
I
they
feel
might,
like
they might need extra permission for that.
Maybe you need 2 permissions there, but God, I'd get a Gizmo Rambo tattoo in a heartbeat.
Oh, easily. But I need another arm for that one.
Right.
This is one of those movies that you're like, God, they just don't make these kind of like violent kid movies anymore.
Not really. No.
With little monsters and how many different designs there are, of the different evolutions of them, and just how crazy they went with like, you know what, we have a bigger budget, and the only way that the guys that are making this are going to really enjoy it is if they get full creative control and go buck wild with the whole thing.
They let Rick Baker just go hog wild.
It was the only reason he took the job.
Yeah.
The original creator of the Gremlins and Gizmo couldn't come back because he was on The Fly 2.
Ooh.
So
Ah,
he
that's
was-
a terrible gig to have.
Yeah, but there's some pretty cool
The effects are pretty
in
cool.
that movie.
Yeah.
It
which is
takes
really good.
forever to get to.
That's also true.
Hey, I'm sure that one paid well as well, because the
Oh,
fly
probably
was-
did.
Yeah, but Rick Baker took it because they were like, "Hey, you can do different Gremlins." He's like, "Oh, so I can create new ones?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Absolutely." They had 5 times the original budget of Gremlins for Gremlins 2.
That's so insane.
So that's why it was literally hog heaven if you were in the special effects part of this. They built like the interiors of the building were sound stages. There's just so much they put on screen that it's kind of mind-boggling from a production standpoint when you're looking at it going, this is a sequel. This is Gremlins 2. This doesn't, why would anyone do this? And it was just, the studio was just like, we have to do this.
Well, it all makes perfect sense though too. Like I can't picture a sequel being anything else than what we get,
Well, no, not now. I mean, but let's just say, we grew up with, like Pete, you saw Gremlins and stuff. You weren't expecting this level of a sequel.
Oh,
You were
in
like,
1990, a movie being meta and breaking the fourth wall and having the Gremlins actually eat the film is unheard of.
Yeah.
And like,
This
I
is-
totally get why those jokes probably did not land like they do now, where you have a character like Deadpool.
I was going to
breaks
say,
the
this
fourth
is
wall.
Deadpool level, humor that we're getting now.
Yeah.
They're all trying to talk like, oh, look how, great She-Hulk was because we're breaking the fourth wall. I'm like, they did that in Gremlins too. They took what Ferris Bueller did and turned it up to 11.
the Muppet movie did it before this. I mean,
I think because the Muppet movie, we were always used to them talking to us because of the Muppet
that's
show.
Yeah, like
It
that's
never-
definitely with the Muppets. Like it never felt like a four.
I never felt like a
complete
fourth wall
wall.
break with
Yeah.
them. I mean, I'm
Like
sure that's what it
this.
is. Yeah. I mean, they're breaking the fourth wall, but
Where
with
you
them,
have-
I was so used to Kermit talking to me as the audience member.
okay.
This one was the
Leonard
movie.
Maltin's going to get eaten.
Pete or Nate, get out of my brain. I was like, they hold the literal Gremlins movie up.
Yeah.
That movie is in this universe, and Leonard Maltin gets eaten in this movie. I mean, it's insanity. And then we are watching this is Spaceballs. We are watching the movie as this is now, and then all of a sudden Hulk Hogan pops up. I mean, come on, this is gold, man. This
And
is-
Christopher Lee is amazing as like the scientist who's so stoic and like
Just chewed up the scenery. He was loving every minute of this.
you get the
One of the
twins from
outtakes.
T2.
Yeah, right.
I love the twins from T2, man. The first time you actually see them both on screen,
Yeah.
and
They're
and
playing
it's-
clones.
they're
Like,
so in the joke. How's that cloning process going, boys? And they both turn around. I'm like, this is excellent right here. This is writing when people
were,
are having fun.
They were Martin and Lewis, weren't they? And that's
think
a
that's-
joke.
yeah.
That's a joke for the old folks out there who are Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis
Like
fans.
almost, I think the scientist, his name was Cushing, something Cushing.
Catheter.
It was
Catheter.
Dr.
was Cushing.
Catheter.
I think his first name was Cushing because I was reading that they
was
they
it Cushing
took-
Catheter?
they took his names from roles he's played and actors that he's worked with. Like there's so many different levels. Also, as a kid, I can never appreciate John Glover as much as I do now.
Oh, he's amazing.
Seeing him.
God, he's amazing.
I want to watch everything that dude is in. Ever since he was in Smallville as Lex Luthor's dad.
That's the first time I remember him for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I
I see
remember
him pop
him.
up in all sorts of stuff.
I remember that face and dude from RoboCop 2 because he's in the Magnavolt commercial. It won't even run your battery down. That whole thing when they electrocute the dude in the car with the commercial. That's how I've known that guy. But then he was Lionel Luthor. He's been in a ton of other stuff. I forget. God, I wish I could name them all. I'm not going to sit here and go through his IMDb, but I love this dude on here. And let me tell you something. As a kid, I never got the joke about the being Clamp and the world is squished in
Squished.
between it. And I literally probably had to be in my 20s or 30s going,
Oh, I get that.
I get the joke.
No,
man."
I think I had to be yesterday because I was like, oh man, there's a lot of jokes in here about like late stage capitalism and like
Oh yeah.
some
Oh,
of
he-
like the stuff that we see now. Like go to a McDonald's where everything has to look exactly the same,
Yeah.
and then they're walking through the building going, "This is the art you pay for. This is the art you get.
Uh-huh.
Nothing else." It's just like, I
He's
get it now.
literally Donald Trump in this movie. That's
Yes,
what they
like-
based that character off of.
Ted Turner, Donald Trump. Yeah.
Ted Turner, because Ted Turner famously hated black and white movies. He colorized movies all the time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They did silver for Clamp instead of gold, which is what Trump did in his.
Mhm.
Like, even the building is based off of Trump Tower, you know, in New York. So regardless of what's going on now, this is when we could make fun of.
Oh no, this is
this
This
what
is
they get.
very relevant. It's just scary how
in
relevant
the
it is
joke.
to
It is.
2024.
Yeah.
Like,
It
Yeah.
really is.
I feel like Dante would have been like, I really hope this does not, fruition into reality, and here we are. And Joe Dante is probably just like, shit.
The absurdity of some of this movie, because they're in a media mogul headquarters, right? So they have
Right.
they're a cable TV provider or channel,
They're
whatever.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they really are. But they had channels for everything. And back in 90, it was absurd to think that there was an archery channel and a cooking channel and all these other specific channels.
Mhm.
And with with cable coming on strong in the mid 90s, that's exactly what you got. We still kind of have that.
That's where
There's-
it went. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because-
They were predicting the future to a degree.
I remember early cable at my grandma's, there wasn't Food Network. There wasn't, the outdoor channel.
Mhm.
You had mixtures of shows, but, a lot of, if you want to watch a cooking show, you watch PBS, which is basically
I was
what
gonna
they're
say,
emulating
like,
on that. Yeah.
When they had that, it reminded me of
Julia Childs.
what would have been channel 3 or 4, like the Home Shopping Network, one of those early channels where it's like,
Yeah.
see,
there
this
was
is
the early
what
ones of those.
the
Yep.
made for TV products were, where that made for TV product would have been the microwave, which I do love the callback to the first one.
And they get to use it instead of they flip it, and I love how that works, because you're watching it and they're like looking at it and you're like, do they know?
Right. How do they know?
Do they have memory? Like, does
genetic memory or
Gizmo? Yeah,
something?
does Gizmo like give them? Because is there always a Spike when?
Right.
I don't think they call him Spike in this because he turns to a spider. But yeah,
what the problem with the movie is Gizmo. Gizmo's a big problem because every time that little booger gets wet, he spits out a whole bunch of evil sons of guns.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is get rid of Gizmo, and we don't have a problem anymore.
Well, don't you say
That's
that?
just
Don't do that. No, yeah, we're not getting rid of Gizmo.
So how is there Gizmo the good kid, and then where did he come from?
We haven't got a third movie to explain this shit
Is
yet.
he the
That's
OG?
why.
And whenever Spike gets wet, he pops off a whole bunch of
I think
baddies instead of goodies.
What I
think
like
it's skip
to
a generation
believe
or something.
in my head canon is he learned goodness from like Mr. Wing.
Oh,
that's
okay.
That's where he was found at the first movie. It's where he's found, unfortunately in the second one, because Mr. Wing passes away, so that they can build their new Chinatown, which is it's hysterically absurd until you really think about it. Going, there's somebody really wanting to do what Clamp is doing, in a big city or something. This golden dragon wrapping around a building. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's it right there. That's what I want out there. Get rid of those trees. Dutch elm disease. That's what people are going to think with those trees.
Right.
Like, it's so absurd. But no, I believe Gizmo possibly is like the 1 out of 100. That, well, let's say 1 out of 2,000, because there's 400 of these little boogers running around this movie. But I feel like he was like the anomaly, and he learned goodness. He was treated well.
Yeah, because it's always showing him wanting to watch like TV and kind of like pop culture around him.
Yeah.
And even
And-
in this one, showing him like liking music and that he likes to dance, which I don't stop motion CGI. I don't know what you want to call that, but anytime they showed Gizmo walking twice, I was like, don't do that. Just do the close-ups on the belly up.
I like the dance though. You can't get rid of my dance with him and the twins.
No, the dance
bebopping.
that part's great. It's when
I
you
love
get to
the
see
dance.
his feet move, and you can tell that was 1990. We have the technology compared to 1984. Let's show Gizmo actually walk.
I
But when
wanted to
he's
see a
walking down
Mogwai
the alley,
walk.
it's like, ooh, this is weird. I don't like this.
I was that kid who's like, I want to see a Mogwai walk. Come on, man. This is what I want.
But then I saw one walk, and I went, nope, I'm good. Never again.
No. Put it back in the box. You're not going to put it back in the box. It's out of the box now. I don't know, man. This is
really like my only complaints with the movie is Billy and Kate's relationship doesn't feel like the same from the first one. Like, I don't know if the chemistry
they are living with
didn't
each other,
feel
aren't they?
as they're living with each other, but for some reason, like
they feel like roommates instead of lovers.
yeah, like I don't know, something about it felt off this time around.
I mean, it could be how they did it because I'm sure Dante's not putting a ton of character development into the act.
That's about monsters.
The dialogue.
Yeah,
but what I've always had in my head
damned.
that they do a really good job with is they're stressed. They're in a strange town, working jobs that aren't really going anywhere.
They come from a small town. They working in the biggest city you could.
She tells him or he tells her, he's like, I could have been promoted twice at the bank by now. And she goes, you would have hated it. So there's this thing of they're not married yet. So now they're like, we don't have enough money to get married. She freaks out because the crazy one breaks the blender. She's like, I don't have money to replace all this stuff that you break. And so
I don't know how she could look at googly eyes and be like, well, that's clearly Gizmo.
I spend a lot of
We
time
all know how adorable Gizmo is.
She did not spend. She was traumatized, I think, by the Gremlins before she even saw Gizmo.
Oh yeah,
right. I haven't watched the first one in a while.
It's been a couple.
Yeah,
years
she was
now
in the
at this point.
bar serving drinks to them before.
That's
she ever
right,
saw
because we
Gizmo.
get the big drunken thing. I don't think she sees Gizmo till the end of the movie. So that
and they take Gizmo away immediately after that, pretty much.
I have to watch it again. I'm now wondering if she ever.
Oh no,
actually,
you gotta watch Gremlins again.
Well, no, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying
what's her interaction with Gizmo?
What now I want to see how many times
Because
she
I don't remember
interact,
off the top of my head.
She is I mean, obviously you dealt with Gremlins and she probably had it worse than, anybody except for, the old man that got the snowplow through the, house. But
Dick Miller, God bless you, sir.
I love seeing Dick Miller in a movie,
Isn't
man.
it great?
Oh my God. The dude from Demon Knight, he's in Chopping Mall.
He's
and
in everything.
The usher for the theater part with Hulk Hogan, he's at the beginning of Chopping Mall. He's with the one girl where they're like, oh, robots in the mall. What, he's like very staunch, posh kind of dude of like.
He's always been an old man too, hasn't he?
Yeah, Dick Miller's always been in his 60s, 70s.
He was born a prune. That's exactly what that was. He's like Benjamin Button stayed. You never went up or down anywhere.
Neutral.
Neutral.
But aside from that, even having googly eyed destroy the apartment, having Billy come in like, that's not Gizmo. We need to get him out of here, and just throwing him in the bag and all the noises he's making. There is so many different cat level noises.
Was that
movie.
Frank Welker or was that Howie Mandel doing Dum Dum or what was he?
Howie did only Gizmo.
Only Gizmo. Okay, so I bet it was Frank Welker then.
I think Frank Welker did some of the Gremlins. Mark Dodson did some of the Gremlins. I don't know exactly who because honestly, I would have to imagine they just went up to different people during production and went, make this sound.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. Just make a noise and we'll make it work.
It never sounds like them just repeating the same sound, the track over and over again. They're very unique to a lot of them. And I don't know. I'd have to really dig to find out who did Googly Eye, but that's the one I reenact around the house.
He's the best voice. That was the most expressive, insane. I mean,
it's like so crazy.
Somewhere there was a lot of Daffy Duck in that voice. Daffy Duck meets the Tasmanian Devil.
Well, I love the one with like the two big teeth, how deep his voice is. Yeah.
Yeah. I got two cats and it was like, there's Gunner and Jax, because it was the dumb one and the strong one that were buddied up together the whole time. I'm like, there's my two cats. That's exactly their personality.
But is the black one Stripe? Is that his name?
No,
Mohawk.
Mohawk, I think, is in this one. Mohawk's the one that turns into a spider.
Yeah.
He's the one that comes out of the trash can. So the other one is just black and white. And he's like, I always just call him.
He looks like an old man, right?
Yeah, I called him like the strong one, and he's just partnered up with the dumb one because he always gets hit in the face by the dumb one. They do
even like when they're
slapstick
underneath
stuff.
the ice cream machine and like
that belly's getting bigger and bigger, and then
like
it just
the beer in the
covers
first
his
one.
face. Oh my god!
They never got that out of there. That had to be the last day of shooting because they.
And then you get random stuff like at the vegetable bar. That's Ditka trying to get salad out. That's Ditka.
What? How did I miss that?
Bubba Smith and wasn't Mike Ditka?
That was Mike Ditka.
Oh my god! Well, I gotta watch Gremlins 2
Who's the
again.
guy from Webster? Who's the guy from Webster?
That's behind him. Or no. That's a different guy. No, this was Mike Ditka.
Oh God! Okay,
You're gonna make me prove it.
You even get Tuco from.
I know it was
Breaking
Bubba
Bad.
Smith for sure.
Bubba Smith was behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I swear, maybe it was. I believe you.
Maybe it was. I watched the movie, Pete.
I know you watched the movie. So did I. But I'm getting my football references mixed up.
Right.
Me, the sports guy, got no references, but I know Mike Ditka. And that's probably only because of Chris Farley. Let's be honest here.
Well, there's that.
That's I only know sports through Farley.
Dick Butkus. Okay, we're both wrong.
Dick.
Oh, it's the other guy with the funny name.
Dick, that's right.
Mine's a lot closer to be like, okay, that sounds similar. But there is one cameo in this movie that I will never forget, and that's Raymond Cruz, the messenger delivery dude. That's making all the deliveries. He was in Under Siege with Steven Seagal. He was in Alien Resurrection.
That's Tuco from Breaking Bad. Which is crazy to see him be that young.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any
Norris.
sense. And then Dean Norris is in it.
Dean Norris is one of the SWAT dudes at the end.
that shoots one of the gremlins at the very end.
What was that? It moved. Carry on.
And it's so crazy to see him look so young. God, even I don't know where to go with this movie, guys. There's just so much. It's so much fun. Like, I'm struggling already, but we can talk about
it's so much fun because it's so insane. There isn't a moment wasted in this movie. It's all just.
Do you like horror movies?
Do you like hanging out with your buddy?
Do you like cracking jokes and having a good time?
Do you just like fun?
Well, consider checking out Spoils of Horror. We are an hour-long podcast that comes out every single week.
We're not doing reviews. We're just going to hang out, talk about the movies we love with each other, and hopefully the ones you love too.
Covering everything from the popular, the lost, the forgotten, and the bizarre.
If you're looking for a good podcast and a good time, you're going to want to check us out.
We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
Check it out. We'll see you there.
Gremlins in the projection booth. Could you help us? Gremlins? Now? Okay, you guys, listen up. People paid good money to see this movie, and no monsters in the projection booth. Do I have to come up there myself? Do you think the Grimsters can stand up to the Hulkster? Well,
If I were you, I'd run the rest of Gremlins too, right now. Sorry, folks. It won't happen again.
Thanks, Hulk.
Thank you,
I
Hulk.
appreciate that.
I do picture, though, that Leo is, in fact, a gremlin. So that
It's just so
makes
weird that they
sense.
broke in just to play a Spoils of Horror.
Don't get him
commercial.
wet.
Like,
Don't get Leo wet.
Yeah,
you know,
never
I get
turn out
the
right.
hacking thing handled, and then all of a sudden, Gremlins. I don't like. I can't stop these guys. But they didn't expect Hulk Hogan to help us out on that one. So thanks, Hulk. Appreciate it.
I think one of the cool things with the Gremlins themselves is they're not necessarily trying to kill anyone. They're just causing havoc.
Agents of chaos.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to get bitten by a gremlin. It looks awful, but like they
It
just
does look
seem
like it
to
hurts.
latch on, and not to go through like the jugular or anything like that. They're just wanting to bite, like what a snippy dog would do or something, or like a cat after you touch its belly too long. It's like, no, now I must bite you.
Yeah.
That is what a gremlin is. And like
the murder button is always on.
yeah,
With
exactly.
Gremlins.
But they have their own personality because you've got like the one that decides to become a secretary. Why would a gremlin decide to become a secretary is beyond me, but it works.
Well, and the other gremlins, I love how they, because of the evil scientist, because of Christopher Lee's lab, that's how all these gremlins got their powers. And they all, the one took bat serum or something, turned himself into a bat, and then he got injected with, what was it, genetic sunscreen? And
Genetic sunscreen.
he could go
That was going to
outside.
be their way of like taking over New York, essentially.
The Toho science in this thing is just glorious. Someone was experimenting with a tomato, making it sturdy like a bouncy ball.
They were bouncing it around.
Probably the greatest transformation since American Werewolf in London, when that gremlin went from gremlin to vegetable gremlin.
When he's just
Right.
turning bubbly.
Packed his ears. His ears went from these big floppy things to lettuce leaves or kale or something. He started growing tomatoes out of his face. Oh man.
It's actually, I think, the one we get to see the full
first one.
transformation
Yeah. Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
Well, so we only see the wings develop off the back of the one gremlin. Then it brings them around. And when it opens back up, it's got more bat features. Brainy one falls behind the counter and pops up with glasses on. So apparently the genetic solution can create,
Don't worry about that.
tangible
That
things.
makes sense with brains, though. So I get that.
The spider was all in shadow. We're only watching
Uh-huh.
it
It's so
develop.
cool because you're waiting for that reveal. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see this. This is
That-
going to
that
look
was
awesome.
And it did.
Perfectly
And then when
done.
you get the reveal, it's like, oh, that's worth the payoff.
That one, that's probably the most horror-esque part in this
Oh yeah, I
movie
hate
is
that
the
one.
spider
I hate it
scene.
so much.
Yeah, of course Nate hates the
I
spider
hate
one.
that one.
But it's
Oh.
so masterfully done, and
It
the
is.
webs feel real. They don't
Yeah,
feel
they're
like
gross.
just fake webs. They got what's her face all tied up.
She's
in it.
like leaning up against them. They were holding some of her weight
They're
at least.
Wait, they
Yeah,
look like
uh-huh.
she's like maybe got a harness behind her, so it looks like she's Michael Jackson, you know,
Mhm.
leaning forward.
Right.
But you know, it does look like. And then I don't know what the thought process was. Oh, we're going to give her a pocket knife so she can cut her free, but she pulls out the scissor parts of the Swiss Army knife and starts cutting the web away. And I'm like, there's a knife. There's literally a knife on that.
I thought that was a cuticle scissor.
No, it's.
Was it a pocket knife? Okay, I believe you. I just what does a woman have on her in the 90s? She would have had pepper spray, yeah, but she would have had a
She
cuticle.
had a Swiss. Well, you look at
scissors.
it real close. It's
Yeah.
a Swiss
Okay,
Army
all
knife
right.
because it's red, and it's MacGyver. Come on,
Right, of
this
course.
is what I grew up on. And then there's a knife on the dang thing,
Right.
And nope, I'm going to use the scissors and tiny.
That's part of the
snip.
comedy, though. She like, snip,
It
snip,
makes
snip.
sense.
I
to
know
me.
it's the thought process of oh, why don't I just use the knife? And Dante's like, not working for me. No. There's scissors on that, right? Yeah.
Be sillier.
That's it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's gold. And I never got the joke with her about the Abraham Lincoln thing in this movie.
I still don't get it.
Okay, until I watched the first one more than
Mhm.
one time, she tells the Santa Claus story
In the first film.
the first
Mhm.
movie, and they stop in the same way. She goes, Santa Claus, there's a reason I don't like Christmas. My dad thought it would be really good.
Yeah, like I remember
dressed
that,
up as
and because
Santa.
it's just like, good Lord, who tells this story?
Right.
That's the joke. She all of a sudden
Oh.
remembers she had a run-in with a guy that looks like Abraham Lincoln, but he flashed her
flashes
as a
her.
kid, which is why she kicks the gremlin
Well,
that
the
flashed
flasher,
her.
but like she has had a very traumatizing childhood. Then,
Yeah.
my God,
Yeah.
And no one wants to stop her, and they're just letting her talk for the longest time. It was forever till I got in on that joke and went,
no, because even
totally
last
get
night I was
it
like,
now.
I like. There's something here that I'm missing, and I don't
They're
understand.
making
what.
fun of themselves. They're
Right. Well, it's like
tongue is
they
planted
actually
firmly in
try
cheek.
to. They make fun of the fact of people trying to explain the science.
Yes, the
let's
logic
say.
where it's like, what if they have a kernel in its mouth and then they finally swallow that after midnight, or what if they're on the
Right,
plane?
they didn't eat after midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if they cross a time zone? What midnight? And
All
it's
those
all
kind
of
of
this
things,
meta stuff.
like even with the ring, it's like I just want to have fun with this though, so I don't care about these plot holes because it's fun. These are deliberate plot holes. Exactly,
Which is what
and
makes
it's like
this movie,
and they're very
brilliant.
self-aware about it, and it's like just shut up and have fun. This is
Just
a movie
have
about
fun.
monsters going
Yeah.
crazy. One of the other
do you
ones. I'll go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, do you think that the guy that did the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix watched the interview with Brainy and the grandpa when he shoots the one beside him? He's like, that wasn't very civilized, because that's kind of what happens in
fun.
Joker, except he shoots Robert De Niro. Like,
You know what? You're absolutely correct. The Joker ripped off Gremlins too.
That's what I thought.
Pretty sure.
Because then he laughs, so it's right there. Let's see, that was not very civilized. I love that stuff, man.
There were so many Looney Tunes references in this. We got ourselves a Wilhelm scream. Billy
awesome.
gets bopped over the head with a mallet at one point before he gets
the little
tossed
cartoon
in the
noise it makes.
You even got the.
We got a whole dentist segment
Yeah,
in this, Nate. Did you
sure
see
did.
that? We got another
we
remake
did.
of The Dentist. The Dentist ripped off Gremlins too.
We got a whole dance number where all the Gremlins are dressed up in ballroom gowns to
Oh.
reveal that they have cards of the one lady Gremlin.
Greta Gremlin.
Greta, yeah.
Yeah, and they're singing New York, New York, and what else?
I
Oh,
love it.
it's indescribable. The ending of this thing, outside of it's just mass chaos and
Well, you
must
get
be
like
seen to
even
be believed.
the Phantom of the Opera one who gets the
Oh my
acid
God,
I love
yes.
that one.
thrown on him,
I
and he
love that
instantly
one.
has the mask. Like,
It's already in his hand.
Yes.
Again, it's like when they get something, it's already there for the joke to land.
At the
and I'm
time,
just,
Andrew Lloyd Webber and Phantom of the Opera was one of the biggest musicals in the world, and that was a direct homage to.
it was. Didn't they just end that show?
I think it's been huge forever. Yeah, that sounds
Because
about
I know
right.
that it because because of TikTok and crap like that, everyone started sharing the chandelier part of the show where the chandelier would fall toward the audience, and if you've never been to the show or no one's ever told you, like, people freak out. And so they've been TikToking people about it. But I think it was, I don't know if it's this year or last year that was supposed to be like the final
That's sad.
performances
It's a
of Phantom
hell of a
Opera.
show.
really?
You're
That's insane.
You're talking, it's been going on for 40 years.
Yeah, probably. Yep.
Potentially.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that was a great reference, and who knows how many folks will get that now that the show is over.
And that's the ultimate problem this movie's probably gonna have is like if I showed this to my kids, they would be like, okay, the chaos is funny and stuff, but 90% of it is straight over their head.
Well, I
Like
think
I don't understand why dad's laughing.
When we were kids, it's the same thing. And then they're going to grow up, and 20 years from now, they're going to revisit Gremlins 2 and be like, oh, okay.
Let's hope.
I get some of these jokes.
I don't know. I feel like then they feel like, well, I need to research that, because at least when we were kids, this was pop culture. Like, so it was still stuff we got, but now we're 34 years removed. And if a kid watched it now, they'd be like, oh, the Gremlins are cool. They're laughing.
Because then at that point, they're 64 years removed. And it's just
right.
Like, oh,
you know,
wow.
It just gets, it would be like us watching, and you know, the old Laurel and Hardy, you know, bits and stuff like that. If they were making references of
That's
the time.
true, because I know I'm not going to watch any of that nowadays. So
I don't know. I can always watch me a Who's on First type thing, or you know, I can watch Three Stooges anytime.
Oh, give me a little Rascals any day of the week,
dude. I have an affinity for for the old comedies, man. It's just comforting to watch those, and I think that's another layer that this movie has for me. Is this is laying pretty heavily on that type of classic comedy that just, it works, man. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work anymore. Like the culture has shifted away from this type of comedy. Like we don't have Looney Tunes anymore. Now they have to be careful. Not that I'm saying that there weren't problematic things in Looney Tunes, but now it has to go through how many review boards before it would ever get made.
All right, let's say it's the Three Stooges-esque humor, where I don't think nowadays parents want a mallet on the head kind of thing.
No, you really don't.
You know, like The Simpsons made a joke about this.
I'm
in
a parent.
The 90s.
I love it.
Yeah, but like I think it's that violent, you know, like cartoons or whatever.
Itchy
They're
and Scratchy.
not around. Yeah, like,
Ren and Stimpy.
now you get Bluey, who just looks like a really cute dog, but I know nothing else about Bluey. You know,
right?
Like,
I mean, beyond.
Or we get like
that was
what's kids cartoons, but they're aimed for adults as well, like Adventure Time or Regular Show, where they're just leaps and bounds beyond what we would have had as kids.
And honestly, let's just be honest: kids aren't watching cartoons anymore.
Yeah.
Kids aren't
It's
watching
YouTube
cable
videos.
anymore.
It's TikTok videos. You know,
it's influencers. It's what are they doing?
Because
now, if one of those dudes did like, hey, kids, go check out this movie I just found, Gremlins 2,
it would happen.
All the kids would go watch it, and they would
someone posting a reaction video to a scene.
Exactly.
And then
that's
kids being like,
how they'll consume it.
Where it only made sense to me like when Fortnite was at its height of popularity. I'm like, how did we not get a Fortnite cartoon? It's like, oh yeah, kids wouldn't watch it. Because in my head, I'm like, Fortnite cartoon would just be modern day G.I. Joe. It's literally right there.
Right.
But
you have kids watching other kids play it.
Yeah. So that's
my
what
son
you need.
does
You don't
this.
have to invest into a whole
get
studio making content.
I don't want to watch somebody play a game. I want to play the game.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
we're old.
Will literally now. My youngest still does play video games, and there's times he'll be watching someone play the game he's playing at the moment. And I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe he's doing a run through or something, but I'll just look over and okay, I don't know if I should be worried. Everyone was over at the house. I think it was for my birthday. We had limited seating. So I'm sitting over, with Liam and Chloe. Liam's in between us. He had his laptop out and he's watching YouTube. No big deal. We're flipping channels. I look over and he is watching a pig be butchered on a kid's channel. Not like they killed the pig.
No, but it's being educational purposes.
Right. But I glance and I went,
ugh.
I'm like, I'm trying to process, is that what I'm seeing? Like, hold on before I say anything. Yep, that's a pig. I've seen this live before. That's fine. I'm not grossed by it, but my son is sitting here engrossed.
Well,
and I'm like,
there was a moment where you're like, is he watching Slaughterhouse, the horror movie? I refuse to.
Exactly. I'm like, what? And I go, son, what are you watching? And he looks at me and smiles. And I'm like, oh.
Yes, Papa.
And then I just told Jackie.
What kind of a smile was it? That sounds.
Was it like a Joker-esque
Was he
smile,
looking-
or
was he
was it
looking
like
at
a
you
I'm
like,
learning
"You're next,
smile?
Pop."
Because he's also terrified of horror movies. So like,
yeah,
maybe it was like a science.
That was the freaky thing. Like, he does not like scary things. But he's watching this thing get butchered. And I mean, it's like there. And I was just, what are you? It's like, what are you? Why? He's like, he's just watching this. That's fine. I look at Jackie. And I'm like, he's watching a pig get butchered. She did not react the way I thought she should have reacted. She was like, okay. I'm like,
am I the only one that's insane right now?
Right. I was like, I thought I was going to be the bad influence. Apparently not. But
it's the
it was
YouTubes.
It's totally the YouTubes.
They're a
man.
bad influence. Now, Pete reminded me, because we're talking about video games, that there is a Gremlins 2 video game.
There is.
And
NES,
I
wasn't
decided
it?
to play it for, just the regular Nintendo. It's really hard. You got
Do you have a cart? Do you have a emulator?
I have a thing that, does things, and that's how I'm able to play things on the fly.
Pete,
Shut up, Pete.
No,
Pete.
We're already on lists.
We're preserving these games, so you must have access.
I have
to them.
ways. That's
Okay.
all I'll say.
So
Nintendo
played
is always listening.
Gremlins 2. I had an NES.
So it's a
but I never
top-down
played
game.
It. Oh,
Yeah, I
no.
didn't know it was a thing at all. I'm like, how did I not know about this?
Is
but
it
also,
LJN?
Oh God, probably.
it is like I had a Super Nintendo and a Sega. Like I
This was
remember
an
us
NES,
having
though.
a
It wasn't Super
Nintendo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
I'm
I
sorry,
remember us having a Nintendo, but at like the tail end, like
Mhm.
it never worked. And I remember we had like the adapter that never plugged into the TV correctly because you had to like screw it in.
Yep.
And just like going from that to the Sega Genesis, be like, is it on channel 3 or channel 4? Was much easier. But the game, I decided to use cheat codes to go to the last stage. You get his bow and arrow. And so I was going around shooting around a bunch of gremlins with that. But other than that, you're throwing your gizmo balls at bats and rats. And I didn't know what to do with my little gizmo balls. And then I went to the shopkeep, and there was Mr. Wing, and he allowed me to buy hearts. And I was like, why don't you just adopt me? You're in the apartment complex.
You're
with
still
me,
alive.
the building. You're alive. Oh my God. But no, instead, I had to go back and throw my gizmo balls at bats and rats and bats and rats. And it was really hard.
You fight
Those
Greta
games
at
make
all?
me sick.
It was developed by Sunsoft.
Oh,
not
yeah.
LJN. So
That's still about the same level.
that's
of-
a step up from LJN. We don't laugh at
Anything's a step
Sunsoft
up from
near as
LJN.
much. Well, that's what I'm saying. At least it wasn't LJN. It's not purple gremlins running around trying.
Yeah,
to
that's
stab
true. But there's also a Game Boy and a Game Boy Advance Gremlins game that I didn't play just yet. But it is funny when you're Gizmo and you die necessarily in the game. You come back onto the screen and you spin like 3 times, and then it greets you with a continue screen. So, yes.
Oh wow. There was a Gremlins Atari game. That's how early
Yep,
Gremlins.
that
Wow.
was the thing as well. I didn't
2600,
play
huh?
that one.
I don't remember that
Yeah.
one.
That's
I almost clicked on it, but I was like, "Nah, I'll for today's purposes, it's
Yep,
Gremlins
today's
2."
Gremlins
Just that
2.
one.
Today's Gremlins
Yeah,
2.
and I was like, "Oh God, I'm getting sick playing this because these type of games are."
You just
I
don't like
don't
that angle?
have. I don't like the angle, and like I'm
Yeah.
terrible at like the timing of jumping and stuff like that. It just messes me up. So no bueno, no fun, no.
No.
Go ahead and skip Gremlins 2. That's my video game review. Prepare for more throughout the rest of the year as I try to play the games related to the movies.
Totally forgot. We should have had you play the Wayne's World game for Flicks and Friends.
Oh.
God, we
There's
should've.
a Super Nintendo one.
That's
of that.
real
Well,
bad.
maybe they'll invite us back for Beavis and Butthead Do America, and I can do the Beavis and
That's
Butthead
good.
game.
I have I have it now, but I have Jackie's original Super Nintendo Wayne's World game.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome!
Yeah. I think it's Super Nintendo. It's either Super Nintendo. I think it's Super.
I think it's Super Nintendo.
It's
That
not
game's
NC's.
hard. They're all hard. What am I?
It's what I've
kidding?
heard. They're all hard.
Yeah.
Well, you had to make them so freaking fast. So, well, I'll tell you what. before we get into the things, Nate, you gave us homework.
I
And
did.
I think now's the time we should do our homework. What do you
Yes. So I decided that everyone has to come up with a gremlin name. And now I should preface, it's not like the names are very clever in the movie.
They aren't. They're like,
So,
right. So this should be fairly
mine's
simple.
rather simple, and that's why, because it's pretty much a descriptor, if anything. So, Pete, what is your gremlin name?
Go first.
I'm pervert gremlin, and I run around with underwear on my head,
That's so gremlin.
chasing girls and lifting up their skirts. Yes.
Yep. That is totally. That's a little bit munchies, but it's also very much a Pete
Very
gremlin.
munchies. Yeah.
If Pete was
Very
a gremlin,
munchies. Very
he would
ghoulies
so do
go to
that.
college.
Ghoulies
or
go to
whatever it
college, yep.
was. Yeah.
God. All right, Charlie, what's yours?
You know what? I'm going to throw everybody for a loop. I'm not going to go the normal route. I'm sure everybody's thinking, I'm going for Viking gremlin. I want a Viking helmet with the horns off.
But one
and I
horn
want
is like upside down, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got to be twisted. And I'm wearing like a fur vest and I'm carrying around a gremlin axe and I'm just raiding everything.
An axe made out of gremlins.
Just whatever I could find and cobble together. I have now made an axe. And then at some point in the background, you will see me on a Viking ship that I have cobbled together, and I set someone on fire and
Yes.
give them a Viking
That's
funeral.
Blowing
very
through a horn.
gremlin-like.
Oh,
Yeah. I have my mead in a horn, you know. So I'm going Viking gremlin because
braided.
that's
braided
honestly, I
beard.
don't
Yeah.
think I saw one in this movie, which says a lot that you guys didn't represent some Vikings.
It might be
The
in the
Muppets
big
did.
like lobby scene. We just
The
it's a
Muppets-
Where's
the pigs did that,
Waldo
didn't they?
of Gremlins.
Yeah, the pigs.
In the Navy, we can sail the seven seas.
Sail the seven
In
seas.
the Navy.
All right, Nate. What gremlin are you?
I'm just beard gremlins, so I'm just constantly growing hair and trying to shave. So that's where all the shenanigans are going on. Like I'm just constantly like using way too much shaving cream and getting it all over the place, like spraying Barcel all over and then all over myself. That's
You're
what it
dual
is.
wielding Barbasol.
Yeah.
Although I want at some point to go over and you're like doing ZZ Top. You got a big guitar.
Oh
hanging
yeah,
off of your-
that would
You got
definitely.
sunglasses on.
And the guitar
you
spins,
know.
but it would be a gremlin that spins.
It is a gremlin.
Yeah, it's a gremlin
strung,
that's-
and
yeah.
you could spin it. Yes. Well done, gentlemen. It's nice to bring back the homework. We didn't want to do any homework for Pete's movies, so that's totally fine.
He never gave us homework. He's
I
the
didn't.
teacher.
That's true.
I didn't.
He had a whole year.
That's on me.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'll fix that next year.
Oh God. All right. Well, I think now is the time for us to get into things. What do you think, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. This isn't blood. This is gremlin slime,
Gremlin goo.
and it's raining. This is the fire hose.
This is actually where the clouds came up and made the sun be blocked because a thunderstorm came through.
That's right. So are they just never going to talk about that they had a whole subplot with the genetic sunscreen? Like, did they actually give everyone? And then that way, when they would have dropped the big curtain, had the storm not showed up, they'd have been like, surprise! It doesn't work.
That's the thing.
Genetic sunscreen.
I don't know.
Brain uses it on the one and saw Bat go out and live. Well, he assumed he would live because he didn't instantly burst.
Right. No one knows it's part of the cathedral now.
Yeah.
So did they give up on that?
So if anything, you'd think Brain would be going around and like making them
Injecting everything.
injected.
Yeah.
But instead, we get an electric gremlin that murders Christopher Lee.
Animated.
Animated.
Fully animated.
Yeah.
Fully animated.
Stuck on hold.
Stuck
So
on hold. It was wonderful.
for-
so silly.
for our kids episode, the inaugural one, we only have 3 people that died in this movie. That is counting Mr. Wing, which is the saddest death that we find out about.
Yep.
Christopher Lee and Leonard Moulton. Those are really the only people we see die. So I saw someone tried to count the guy that does the Wilhelm scream, but I'm like, he didn't die. They didn't kill
That's why
anyone
I
hardly
wanted to
in
do.
this
He
just
landed
nothing
on a
but
bunch
big,
of gremlins. He's okay.
big boo boos and ouchies because it's the kids,
Which is
month,
fine.
You know, like it's
Which
just
is fine.
who got
But
you
I
know,
wanted-
something
said
sprayed
big
in their
boo-boos.
face. Yeah.
It's like, oh,
But
no,
I
what did you
did.
say?
I did get another number,
Oh,
and 480 gremlins died in this movie.
how many just on the bottom side of that elevator? That
19, sir.
Yeah.
I was already ready.
All right.
9 on top, 19 on the bottom.
When that elevator lands and the amount of splatter, like Nickelodeon
yeah,
goo,
Nickelodeon slime.
the
Yeah.
slime. Oh,
And she survives because she's floating up in the air, which totally means if you jump right before the elevator hits, you will survive. I don't care. Gremlins 2 proved it.
was that
That's how it
covered in
works.
speed though?
No,
Well, they said it landed at the bottom with no one in it.
Oh,
So
okay,
that was-
okay. But
Yeah.
there
Remember,
could have been gremlins there too.
It could have been gremlins that caused it.
Yeah.
it was one of the best throwaway jokes as
Zombie kill of the week.
Phoebe Cates is in the elevator and like the elevator
Oh, and
stops and then she says, everything's okay. Beep, 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 beep. They
Well,
all
she
start-
goes, it's all voice activated, so she's like, alarm,
that's
and
right.
all the
Let's
gremlins
go.
start.
One of them starts meowing like a cat. It was
Yeah.
very,
Yep.
very funny.
The subtitles for the movie last night said mimicking an alarm. I went, yeah, they are.
If you listen real close when the two of them grab her feet and they start pulling her apart, they go, wishbone! And they start pulling on her. So good. So yeah, instead of talking about the human deaths in here, we've decided for kill of the week is going to be our favorite gremlin death, or the ooeyest, the gooeyest, whatever, because it just fits. And
Yeah.
there's 480 to pick from, gentlemen.
There's
so
a lot to pick from.
have
Oh.
at it.
I've had mine from the get-go. Can I go
Yeah,
first? Because I
me
want to go
too.
first.
You go first.
Sure, go right ahead.
It is one gremlin takes a picture of another gremlin and the flash kills him. He turns into skeletons and just falls apart. And
That's mine. That's my kill.
That's why I wanted to go
I've
first.
purposely not been saying it this whole episode.
It's so
That's been my
funny.
kill since
The
I
best joke.
watched this movie.
That's been your kill of the week since you watched this movie as a kid and knew 30 years from now you're going to have a
died
podcast to cover this
laughing.
moment.
You can ask Jackie last night that I just hysterically laugh when that happens again because
Because it happens so
Flash.
fast.
bones, and I adore that kill.
It's so
I
good.
know we're supposed to be happy when we match, but not this time. 480, and you had to take my kill.
I'm sorry, brother. We're on the same wavelength.
Oh,
Joe Dante said he had a suggestion box for any gremlin gags through the entire film. Boy, I would have loved to have seen that, whether they used it or not.
Just read them.
I would have
all.
read them
Yeah.
all. And that, tell me that wasn't some grip that went, well, what if you...
That's the electrical dude. Totally
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
electrical
it is.
guy. Go. What about you, Pete? What's yours?
Well, that to pick something different, the Shredder. The Shredder is
The Shredder's
That is
so
a
good.
really,
That's a good
really
one.
gross.
It's shocking, too, because you're like
And it's so slow. The poor gremlin is sucked into it very,
holding
very
onto his
slowly.
tie.
Donald Glover,
I
Ron-
still sit there like trying to remember, does his tie get stuck in like
a little bit. Yeah, it starts.
I have
to.
this memory of a movie of someone's tie getting stuck and they have to grab scissors to cut
Yeah,
it. I don't know
it's-
what movie
I
that's
think it's been
from.
done
I
a
thought
number
it
of
was
times,
this.
but yeah. So it's the Shredder for me. That was really gross.
That's a good one.
Uh,
That's a solid one. And they show not only they show it
the
spewing
exit.
up, they show it going into the basket, and he's cleaning himself off with the handkerchief. He hands old dude back again. Nate stole my
I'm
so
kill.
sorry. I didn't
I
know.
should have went first.
You should have, but I was so I got
did know because you never go first when it's your pick. You never go first. Should have known something was up.
I'm
It was
telling
my
Mom.
kill. Tell- Ma, he stole my kill.
He did what?
He sniped it. Ma, get my chicken nuggets.
No more video games for you. No more sniping. It's a bad Charlie.
Oh, God. I didn't snipe it, Ma. Nate did.
You're grounded.
My mom said you can't come over anymore, Nate. You're not allowed at my house anymore.
That's all right. My mom said you're a bad influence because you showed me Metallica. I wasn't supposed to learn about Metallica yet. So Mom was not happy that you let me borrow the Black Album. She said black is for the devil.
Nate bent my Wookiee.
You're a liar. That was my Wookiee. I let you borrow it.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
I don't know.
Did you never stay a night at someone's house, Pete?
You ever get in a fight with your
liked
friend?
me. Of course I didn't.
Well, it's because you grew up in a town that only had 7 kids.
It's true.
He's like, we didn't have sleepovers till I went to college. Zing!
Yeah. It's true.
All right, boys. Let's rate this bad boy.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back. Woo!
Well, Pete, I'm going to let you go first because I've been struggling with this today.
This movie brings me great joy. It's a 9.5.
Nice. I love that it was just that simple.
Great
quick
joy.
and easy. He was in and out. Charlie, you?
I can't make that joke this month. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
No, you're not.
Kid friendly.
No,
Kid
kids.
friendly. Kid friendly.
Ew.
And this is, I haven't done a comedy on the show for a very long time. So it's like
hot stuff, right?
Year one.
Yeah, hot shots.
Hot shots. That's right.
So, but in all reality, that I feel like this is our first like comedy that we've dipped our toes into. And as we've said, it's so difficult to even talk about comedies because all we're doing is just repeating all the jokes.
It's like the
and
hardest
we're not doing it as good, but I think we did good. I think we did. And there's just something about the rewatchability of this movie. The jokes never get old for me. We were all on board when Nate picked this, even though we weren't all on board for the last 2 of this month. This one was kind of like a no-brainer. I'm going to stand tall with Pete, man. I'm going to say it's a 9.5.
Yeah.
I can't tell you why it's not a 10 because he did everything on purpose. So there's nothing wrong with this movie. There's everything that we would maybe say we would change. He did on purpose.
Right.
So he succeeded, but 9.5. Definitely a lot of fun.
So I'm at a 9, but I'm in the same reason where I'm like, I don't know why. Now, when I looked at my letterbox, I had originally given this a 5, which means it's a 10 movie. But that was also under the influence of alcohol. So
I don't change my letterbox grading.
So
when I put it on there, that's a stamp. When I stamp it, it's stamped. That's letterbox. I don't change. You can't sway me. Does that sound familiar, Nick? Does that sound familiar?
Mom, Charlie's making fun of me again.
Don't take my kill of the week again. That's what's going to happen.
I went backwards, though. I did it on my own. So I think a lot of it is dealing with that relationship of Billy and them. Like, I don't know. For some reason, that was bothering me last night. Where I think it was the way that he came home and had the lipstick on his face and didn't instantly try to explain to her what was going on. When he said he had a meeting,
she didn't question him.
Yeah, and then like when he said he had a meeting and was like, "Here, you take care of Gizmo. Like, go get him," and just like dipped off. Like, I don't know. There was just some weird like. The Billy I know from Gremlins 1 would have never even allowed that woman to like touch his chest in front of her and stuff like that.
No, but he saw it, and I don't think Dante put
and that's the thing. I don't think it was meant to have much between Billy and Kate.
But I took it as this was because he got congratulated by Clamp, and Clamp knew his name in the corporate world. Connections.
Yeah.
While I never believe Billy would have done anything,
not at all. Not at all.
Even the kiss is she grabs him and it's on the side of his face.
Yep.
But you also have to remember there are mogwai going wild everywhere, and she is discombobulated because she's been fighting.
She's
one
got
in the
mustard
kitchen,
on her shirt, basically, whatever else.
and she was already mad at him for leaving one in her lap that she thought was Gizmo. So I don't ding it.
This
as hard
also
for that,
could
I
be because
guess.
adult Nate's like, oh my god, Phoebe Cates, you're just so
It's true.
adorable, and Drop Dead Fred.
Old Ruben from Sludgecast, man. He's got a thing for.
He's got a thing for Phoebe, and I can't say he's wrong.
No, I don't
Not
think
at
any
all.
of us can say she's wrong. She's that to me is one of the earliest forms of the girl next door.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
look and face and everything. And to be honest, I saw pictures not long ago of her. I think it's some kind of like awards get together.
Oh,
She quit
really?
acting.
Yeah,
she hasn't been in anything in years.
She's
Kevin Kline she married, I think.
yeah, she married Kevin
And
Kline.
she's just happy to be a mom, and yeah.
She's a stay-at-home mom, and what I was going to say is she's aging quite gracefully.
Nice.
I mean, you can tell it's her. She's getting older, but that's still Phoebe Cates walking around out there. So
that's so cool.
Bravo. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
All right.
Gremlins 2 is just like, it hasn't aged. Like, this isn't like something that's aged poorly. The effects are still great. Even the animation
hold
stuff
up.
is awesome. Like, everything about it.
They did it right.
This is something that's like, yeah, I'm going to be putting this in the rotation more and more. Like, after robbing myself for so many years of not watching it till last year, it's like, nah, Gremlins 2 is back on the docket as a comfort
And I
film.
think it's a lot of that falls on too because a lot of people have started watching Gremlins at Christmas because it's very much a Christmas movie.
I'll be honest, I like Gremlins 2 more than the first one.
I do because it's my first introduction to it.
I think there is part of that with it, but it's like Gremlins 2 is so batshit crazy that it's what the first one teases you with,
They're
like the
two
movie
different
theater
movies,
scene.
though. They're two very different
Yeah.
movies.
Well, the first one is, to be fair, probably should have been if we were really wanting to do like a kid-friendly horror movie.
Mhm.
The first Gremlins is it.
Oh, definitely.
That's a horror movie, but we want to have fun,
And that's the
what we
thing.
do
Like,
here.
I know with personally, when it comes to something like Gremlins 2 or Evil Dead 2, that's my cup of tea when it comes to horror. Is I like zany, goofy. Like, I like something that just goes so over the top. That's why Here for Blood, when we covered it, it was like, this is everything that is aimed
Here for
towards
Blood.
me.
Tree Revenge was another one. Like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
those
baby.
are the
That's
type of
my
movies
jam.
Exactly. So while I love Gremlins 1, it's just Gremlins 2 is kind of like, that's my personality, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, it works. Fun fact: you said Evil Dead 2. The guy that did the stop motion for the bat gremlin is the same guy that did the dance sequence.
Oh, really?
Evil
Didn't
Dead
know
2.
that.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yep. So it all ties in
It
quite
all,
nicely.
all comes back to Bruce.
It always does.
It does. So trash opinion.
I do
You
have
better
one.
not. Boo! Is it Leonard Walton again?
Well, it turns out people didn't like this movie, Pete.
They didn't at all.
I'm the
This is-
trash
It
man.
bombed.
I come
Yeah.
out, I
Bad.
throw trash
No one
all
got what
over
it was
all
about.
over the ring. And then I start eating garbage. And then I pick up the trash can and I bash the guy on the head.
Oh, that's going to be a disaster.
All right. So this comes from Sinister Drek 88, who gave this a 3 out of 10 and said this movie is more stupid than funny back in 2009. So, still relatively new, kind of. He said the first Gremlins movie was great. It combined humor with thrills and was a good movie overall. Gremlins 2, however, was not. It tried so desperately to be as good as the original, such as the girl gremlin hitting on that guy near the end, but in the end, just came out being foolish and boring. The movie is not terrible, but it's not good either. And I bet if they made this movie more like the first Gremlins, then I would be giving it a perfect score right now. But no, they had to screw it up. The only thing that brought this movie a lot of money was Brian Gremlin and the Gremlins' antics, and even those get poor after a while.
I think he
Brain-
means brain.
brain.
Yeah, I think he means brain as well. And I had to
He
reread
wrote
that.
Brian?
Like, did I say something stupid? But no, he wrote Brian.
No, I'll let you go. Usually, you're pretty good about reading it word for word.
Yeah, I was like, no, that was not a me mistake. He said
This
Brian.
this is a classic example of people not getting the joke.
Yep.
A lot of the reviews are people upset with the amount of violence in the movie, the meta jokes, like making fun of itself. Like, it's the perfect the joke going over someone's head is the best way to put it. Yeah.
It's that, and I think that's the problem. That, and let's be fair, Dante didn't care.
He did not give a care.
He did not care if this made money. He got paid. He got exactly what he wanted. He got a studio to give him a crap ton of money to have fun, and that's exactly what he did. Now, in doing that, he's now created what I consider a cult classic with Gremlins 2. But so many people just don't get the joke.
Don't get it. Yeah.
Nope.
Well,
those people don't understand satire or parody.
There are Gremlin replicas that you can buy, and you can get the Flasher, but he's sold out right now. But you can get one of just an evil Gremlin for $200.
So you want a Gremlins Flasher, and I'm the pervert for watching a movie with.
He's got sunglasses. He's cool.
Did you want me to wear sunglasses over the underwear on my head?
I mean, there's
honestly, yes.
there's no bait and tackle hanging down, Pete. So I think it's totally fine. It's like Donald Duck without pants. They had to take a serum to give us boobs in this movie. Which, hey, we got Gremlin boobs.
I could get Stripe. He's $250. But then you've also got the Bandit Gremlin who had the ski mask over his face.
That was from the first film. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking that he could go somewhere in the office.
I want a googly-eyed one, but the eyes move.
Yeah, they're just constantly going back and forth.
They just not Google eyes. I want the eyes to just spin around in his head.
Little
that would be hilarious. Yeah, I would totally love it.
And then I'm also like, well, I could spend the money on a Rambo Gizmo tattoo. So, man, there's just what stupid things can I spend money on? Like, that's where I'm at right now.
Nate with adult money.
It's a problem. It's something that child Nate never knew could happen.
It's a big problem. All right. Well, that is our first entry into Kid Month, man. So do we tell them about what we know our second one is?
Yes, please, Charlie. Let them know about Ninja Turtles being the next movie we cover.
It's not.
What?
I do not understand why it's not. So please try
to
explain.
You're not picking all of the movies this month.
I only wanted 2 of the movies this month: Gremlins 2 and Ninja Turtles, or else I quit.
I'm not doing it. Next week, I wanted to also do something that we have not done on the show before. We are going to cover our first Disney movie.
Ooh.
We are going to watch The Three Musketeers.
Yeah. I saw this
the
in the
good
theater.
version of The Three Musketeers.
I've seen this.
I'm
not sure. So I'm excited because
Oliver Platt.
Yeah.
Kiefer
Sutherland.
Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland.
The cast is
Chris
insane.
O'Donnell.
And it's 90s Disney, so I'm excited because, like, I know it's going to be.
Have you not seen this?
I think I have. I'm not positive. I'll know when I start
Tim
watching
Curry.
it.
Oh, yeah. Tim Curry's in
Cardinal Richelieu. My God, man. This is going to be awesome. We also have a guest. I won't announce it right now because we haven't recorded it yet, and we've made that mistake of announcing stuff and did not happen.
Yeah.
We are planning to have a guest that we've been on their show before, but it's a first time appearance for them.
This guest say that they did not want to cover Ninja Turtles, and that's why
I didn't
those
give
words
them the option.
came out,
I said
I'm leaving.
I said, hey,
I'm out.
Do you want to come cover Three Musketeers, the Disney version?
Mom, come pick me up. Charlie's being a jerk.
It's still kid friendly. Watch it. And I was like, hey, we're going to cover the Disney version of Three Musketeers. And they're like, absolutely, I'm in. So we're looking forward to that. And yes, as of right now, and maybe by the time we record the next one, we still won't know what the next 2 movies are because the poll goes to the end of February.
But they are, like, Ninja Turtles wasn't an option in either of those. So
no, it wasn't.
You've got a birthday month coming up, Nate.
May I add, you added one of those options to the
because
action
I
side.
was under the impression that Ninja
Oh,
Turtles
for heaven's
was
sake!
locked in.
Poor Nate. Nate's butt
No,
hurt.
we never locked it in.
No, you tricked me. Is what you did.
I didn't trick
You're
you.
a no big.
It's
meanie.
not like I stole your kill of the week. You
Oh, is that what this
assumed.
is? You assumed 2
guess
weeks
what
ago
happens
that I was
when
going to
you
steal your kill of the week.
assume? What happens?
Knock
when
it
we
off, you two.
assume?
You make a butt out of me and you.
Exactly, because you're kid friendly this
Booger
week.
breath.
So, yes. Oh.
Booger lips.
Ma! Call Nate's mom.
No!
Nate said the F word.
Charlie's a liar.
I learned it from watching Nate.
Mom said you're not allowed to come over.
Exactly. We're all the way back to that. If you want to keep up with us, just check us out over at Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the podcast group on Facebook. Give Me Back My Action Movies, the Facebook group. Both of us are on Instagram. Nate runs the horror. I run the action. Somehow we still find people.
Yeah,
that don't
someone
know
called
that.
me Charlie today, and I went, I'm insulted.
You're both white. You
That was
both
on
have beards.
TikTok because we both have TikTok accounts for each one. That was Dustin. I'm going to bust Dustin out from Flicks and Friends.
Dustin calling me Charlie. Ass.
So yeah, we're over on TikTok. We're on X. We're on Threads, and we are on YouTube. So we're done with February. It's March.
We survived.
Whew. Another year gone.
All I know is I've
It's
introduced you
behind
to
us.
at least 2 movies that you dearly love.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You're
not
absolutely right. And boy, did I love them.
Yeah, I could have done a whole month of just those 2. I wish I had. So yeah, Nate, you want to get us out of here with the good word? We haven't done one of those in a long time.
Charlie, what we want is, I think, what everyone wants, and what you and your viewers have: civilization.
Creature. Can I call you Creature? Is that okay?
I don't have that line in front of me right now, so that seems like an insult, and my mind does not remember every single quote from a movie that I watched 18 hours ago. So you will have to bear with me as I just hit Control F and type in the word creature to know what exactly. Well, that did not help. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, it's in the entire interview. He starts it for Creature.
Well,
Can I call you Creature? And then he calls themselves, it's their race. Like they do a whole thing.
There's
like,
a lot, but
better
like I
prepared.
didn't have that part ready.
Yeah, but I didn't either. I just knew it from the movie that I watched 18 hours ago, like you did.
It's been a long day. Shut up.
Has it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Pete.
Play nice.